Hello everyone. Since I'm not gonna make a new episode for Schizo Rants until September, so I'm just deciding to make a review of a game that I got on the Xbox store for free. Actually, 2 games, but I'm just going to talk about the first one for now, and I'll talk about the second one later. But the game that I got is Crackdown. Crackdown is a chaotic sandbox video game that released all the way back in February 20th of 2007, just 5 days before my birthday, and you are the agent, a member of the agency, which is the militarized police force of Pacific City. By the way, the agency has a triple-barreled tank that shoots homing missiles. Just getting that out of the way for you. Pacific City is an archipelago of 7 islands, 6 of which are interconnected by 2 highways. The 7th island, which is ruled by the agency, is only interconnected to 3 out of the 6 islands via underwater tunnels that you, the agent, use in order to go onto the field or to hijack criminal gang member vehicles just to impound them to the garage, or in other words, save them to your personal arsenal of tanks and race cars. Each pair of islands is ruled by one of the 3 gangs throughout Pacific City, and I'll just let their introductions do the work because it pads out the runtime of this video, therefore boosting me in the algorithm.
Los Muertos, the dead, have rapidly grown from a petty band of Central American drug dealers into a significant narcotics operation dominating the 2 islands forming Pacific City's east side, a district now known as La Mugre, the dirt. The gang's death designation was originally chosen to strike fear into those who might dare stand in their way. Now their name is more associated with the consequences of their vile trade. Los Muertos are formidable fighters with remarkable brute strength and brutality to match. They are also renowned vehicle specialists, stealing and customizing the finest cars and vans before using them to great effect in crimes and getaways. Be aware that La Mugre's South Island is packed with rooftops that present an ideal retreat for athletic agents under extreme duress. The Volk, the wolf, is a beast to be reckoned with. Tired of relentless fighting for poor pay and no recognition, hardened militia from all over Eastern Europe came together to put their skills to more profitable use: organized crime. The Volk brought with it a strong pack work ethic and a vast hoard of munitions and armored vehicles of war. The mob's wolves embrace strict military discipline and are experts in the use of firearms and explosives. They bolster their ranks with skilled illegal immigrants and use the rest as a disposable workforce. The Volk controls the entire industrial area of Pacific City, locally known as the Den. The Shigen Corporation is a sinister and pervasive force for evil. It was founded and funded by the previous government with a remit to evolve radical preemptive defense solutions. Its intensive scientific research, strategic influence initiatives, and black propaganda yielded staggering and disturbing results. The burgeoning division became financially independent, probably through illicit sources, and more powerful than its original patron. This led to its purchase by a mysterious individual and the birth of the Shy-Gen Corporation, and as a result, the agency. The Shy-Gen is based in the Corridor, a space created for the unified, lavish lifestyle of its personnel, and a superficial utopia for its numbed citizens. Only exceptionally agile agents have the capability to exploit the heights.
My personal favorite out of the three gangs would be the Volk. And they use tactics that were eerily similar to the ones that were used by the IRA.
Эй, выйдем-ка во двор, серьезным будет разговор. Покажите, трусы, женам вашу храбрость. Помнят пусть, как Ира, вам наняла киллера. И вы драпали, что крепче не досталось.
Such as I mentioned, Crackdown is a chaotic sandbox game, and you pretty much have free reign on what to do. You can lift cars, heavy objects, you can blow up explosives, and there are actually five main abilities in the game: driving, agility, strength, marksmanship, and explosives. And the much more you level those up, the much more closer you will reach to 4 stars, which is the highest level that you can get in the game. And the much more you level up, the much more stronger your character becomes, and his appearance actually changes over time. At first he will look like the standard usual high-tech cop in a hyper-futuristic society, to basically looking like the ultra-futuristic version of Captain America, but this time he uses firearms instead of a shield. And that's all I have to say about the gameplay. Now I'll describe the story. Now, the game barely has much of a story, mainly because of its philosophy of gameplay is king, so I'll try to describe it the best way as possible, just by memory. So, Pacific City is overrun by 3 gangs. And you, the agent, were created by the agency in order to stop these gangs, and it's pretty unknown of who is funding these gangs. And of course, as you go into each of their respective areas, taking out their leaders, of which each faction has 7 gang members, one of them being the Kingpin, and after you take out their leaders, you have to face off the last bit of their gangs in a final riot. And after you take them out, one area is cleared out, and it's pretty much rinse and repeat for the other 2 factions. And after you take out all the factions, all their leaders, well, remember what I said about the tank and the mysterious funders? It turns out that the mysterious funders were actually the agency. The agency funded these gangs in order to put fear into people and make people trust the agency, because they were actually skeptical of the agency. So they funded these gangs to instill fear. And after you take them out, the agency sets to put into order a new world order. And that's pretty much the story. And that's all it, really. That's the story. Now, there is the second game, of which it takes place 7 years after the first one, and it's basically showing off the consequences of what happened in the first game. But to be honest, I don't like it as much as the first one, mainly because you can tell by the difference between the 2 games. Crackdown 1 released all the way back in February 20th of 2007, long before the release of Modern Warfare, and you can tell that the game took a lot of inspiration from superhero comics that came out back in the 2000s. But the second game, of which released on June 26th of 2010, you can tell that it takes inspiration from the Call of Duty Modern Warfare trilogy. And then there is the third game. I'm honestly not a big fan of the look of the third game, particularly of the neon lights. I personally think neon lights are kind of cringe. They're just overrated in the whole cyberpunk genre. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Have a good day.
Now, say my name.
No, sir.
Ah!